They don't give a shit.
It's
they don't
a
give
sad
a shit
reality.
about. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about me. They don't give a shit about you either, Sato. Hey guys, what's up? This is Shades in Podcast. I'm Chris, and today we have Sarah on the program.
Yep, my name's Sarah Hart, and I wear sunglasses at night.
This is haram.
So,
Yes.
so today is the Halloween special. As you can see, we are definitely in costume. I'm dressed up as Comfortable Man. He's dressed up as a biker. And today we will be doing Alien. Now, here's the thing. We're not often going to be doing any form of like horror movies or anything like that. Because, to be honest, horror movies, it's mainly just for entertainment value, just to get scared, usually. Like, a lot of the newer ones, at least.
Yeah, like the slashers.
Like the slashers and stuff like that. But this movie's a bit different. There's actually sort of a message.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of them don't have a message, which is why me personally, I don't watch movies that, like, are just mindless fun and entertainment, because what's the point? You might as well just, like...
Stay at home
or watch some porn or whatever. Like, it's the same shit. Comes down to the same thing anyways. So, but today the topic is Alien. Now, for those who don't know what Alien is, and you probably read the thumbnail and you were like, what the fuck is this guy saying? Alien was a movie that came out in 1979. It was about a company way into the future. I think it's like 21 something
2300s.
The 2300s.
Yeah.
Okay, so like the 2300s, and they're like there's like some cargo freight, whatever, and they hear a distress signal on a planet, and they find out that, like, okay, there's like alien life or whatever. Like, it's an alien ship that they have to investigate because there's a distress signal there, and they get there and there's like eggs on the ship, and one of the egg ends up going onto one of the guy's face, and then it breeds into, like, it basically implants an egg into that guy. They try to remove it. They can't remove it, right, Sato?
Yeah.
Like, and then, like, eventually the egg hatches through the guy's fucking chest, and then...
Iconic.
Oh yeah, spoilers.
I guess. Hey man, it's like what, 3 decades?
It's like
four
decade old fucking movie. If you haven't seen it, like, my bad. It's like almost 5 years. It's almost 50 years old. Holy shit! It's almost 50 years old. So, so yeah, eventually, like, they try to fight the alien, but they can't, because the alien, like, they burst out of the guy's chest, turns out to be like super powerful. It's like a weapon almost. And this movie today, we're gonna talk about the movie, and we're gonna kind of dive deep into like some of the subtle aspects of it, which is what we do here at Shade Cinema. And I think but before we actually start, like the video, subscribe to the channel, listen to us on Spotify and Anchor. I'm no longer going to do any kind of like the video format on those platforms, because I'm going to release the videos or in the podcasts on those platforms first. So by Wednesday or Thursday, hopefully. And then on Friday, you can get the video version on YouTube. So again, Spotify and Anchor, the links will be in the description below. And like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Ballsy.
And enjoy the show. So I think one of the things that very quickly came to mind was whether or not we should have contact with alien life. Like, everyone thinks like, it would be great to have contact with alien life. But what do you think, Sato?
It's we're treading on thin ice here. I'm saying that I'm kind of exaggerating it maybe, but at the same time, we don't know what's out there. Now, there's a team of people that also have a YouTube channel called Kurzgesagt, and they actually...
Ooh, they're good.
Yeah, I love them. They're really good. Shout out to them. And they also made a video on that. And they kind of... They dumbed it down. So it's like as above, so below. So below being... Imagine you're a hunter, or you're just a gatherer. A gatherer-hunter in a Stone Age era, and you come across an animal. You don't know if it's a predator. You don't know if it's a prey for you. Shit. So, you're there in the bushes, and you're and you notice it, but you don't know whether you should approach it or not. And it's kind of the situation that we are in right now. Like, we can't contact other people, but other alien life forms, because we don't know if there is anything out there. I'm sure there is, but it's a very sticky situation. Like, the chances of there actually being something out there, and then let's say you do get in contact with them and they turn out to be like War of the Worlds alien life forms,
who are willing to like fuck you up and shit and take over your planet,
like harvest your entire
your organs. Bruh. I think I agree, but I also kind of want to play devil's advocate, so
sure.
Ballsy.
So but like, what if we get into contact with like aliens and they're friendly and they were willing to like provide technology and stuff like that? Like would we be missing out on something like that? Wouldn't we be like wouldn't it be beneficial to get into contact with higher technologically more advanced civilizations?
It would. It would, but I'll go out on a limb and take a bit of inspiration from Star Trek, where I don't know if have you ever watched Star Trek?
I have not, no.
Okay, well, in Star Trek they have the Federation. They have the Federation. So the Federation is basically a group of all of these races and planets that have come together and united to form this one galactic federation. And the Federation's purpose is to go beyond, travel, and explore and find new. I forget the motto already. Jesus Christ! But it's they basically try to explore and find new life forms.
Okay.
Nothing too crazy. Not dominate land, but they go about and try to be as friendly as possible. But when they see that there's a species on a planet that is just about able to get into warp drive technology, that's when they contact them.
Okay.
They don't contact them beforehand. They'll see that they have technology, but if they're not able to travel interplanetary or at least interplanetary, or more than that, like intersystems.
By interplanetary, do you mean like physically, like the organic individuals actually travel there?
Yeah.
Or like not robots like as we do now?
Yeah, no. Actual humans travel, like let's say to Mars.
Okay.
Then they won't contact them.
Okay.
They don't want to. They don't want to be in the way of their technological advancement.
So then, what happens once they contact them?
If they have the access to that, then they be like, do you want to form an alliance?
So what? So they just ally themselves with everyone?
Yeah, exactly.
So
they try to.
Okay. Well, isn't that like... Okay, that's interesting.
It's a very hippy dippy friendly.
Yeah, but I think it's an optimistic view.
It is. It is.
Because I think it was Vsauce who said this. Shout out to Vsauce.
Oh yeah.
Vsauce said something like, or someone else said, like, but he paraphrased it. He said the arrival of aliens to Earth is like the arrival of Columbus to North America, where they're gonna see people who are like, oh, these are people who are intelligent, who are like us, but like they're inferior to us because they don't have the necessary technology to like rival us. And then you ended up seeing something like the conquistadors, like there's like 400 or 500 of them fight like 10,000, 20,000 Aztecs and they win.
Yeah.
Because of the technological advancement, they have like metal armor and they have like guns.
And the latter have clubs.
Yeah, and they were like the best they have is like, was it the leopard soldiers or something like?
Yeah.
You see that there's a huge technological jump, and even in Alien you see that with that ship. What was it called? What was the planet that they landed on?
I forget.
Oh man, it's like a fucking EB2 4 what? I have no idea. But you see there, and then there's like the alien that was like stuck to the cockpit there, and like it was like a huge room. It's like the technology is. It's interesting the way the technology there is made, because you see that there's a huge difference between the technology that was like that's here and the technology that's somewhere else. I think there was another movie, I forget what it was called, but it was it was humans that were talking to aliens, but they kind of look like Cthulhu in a way.
Oh,
If you remember what
Arrival.
I think, and then
Arrival.
they wrote, and the way they wrote was like a circle, and then with lines and stuff. Is
Exactly.
that what
yeah,
the movie
yeah,
is?
yeah, it's Arrivals.
So in
Arrival.
Arrival, like they have, so the way their language is not even the same. It's interesting, but it's interesting how like even if you look at North America, like before colonialization or before Columbus's arrival, and then like after, or even just the old world, the way scripture is made is different. Like the Aztecs or the Incas had like something called a quipu, where instead of they conveyed information by like the length of strings on another string. So
Yes,
something like
that's
that.
true.
So it's like it's the level of difference between aliens and humans is going to be so great that being able to even communicate is going to be insanely difficult, because we have trouble deciphering that. We have even trouble deciphering like ancient Indian Sanskrits from 20,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine trying to do, or 10,000 years ago, imagine trying to do that with an alien language that has completely different metrics of how they write things and how they convey information. We're not going to have any kind of ability to code break that unless someone learns the language.
That's why that there comes the topic of like, should we? I think we would be overwhelmed, to say the least.
Probably, and I think the world would just kind of go batshit insane. I know that like Instagram and Twitter is going to be full of just fucking memes left, right, and center.
Of course.
It's like when the alien arrived, like something like that.
Yeah, of course. Like, with the Willem Dafoe. Yeah.
So
national treasure.
And I think that kind of plays into human curiosity. Right,
Yeah.
like we're curious about, we're so curious about the rest of the world, like, or the rest of the universe, and like we want to travel to Mars, and we want to see what's like how, if there is life there or whatever, or if there is life on, let's say, like Europa, which is one of the moons of Jupiter that has like water underneath all the ice, and I guess the question is like, at what extent, like, is the human curiosity more dangerous, or is it more useful in certain situations?
It's one of our most distinguishing traits. I mean, us being the most one of the most advanced species of this planet. We can't really speak for other planets, obviously. It's like U.S. versus the world when it comes to NFL.
Well, no one else is NFL.
Exactly. It's like U.S. versus the world. Anyways. Yeah. Again, I'm gonna say it's a tricky situation. Like with Arrival, it took a linguistics expert and I forget what was it, Chris Pratt that was in that, or no, I'm mistaking that one for Passengers. Either way, there were two people that were studying them and that were trying to communicate with them, and it took ages. They were supposed to be gone by like the next week. They were there for like almost an entire year.
So like brought in linguistic experts, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we don't know what the fuck these guys are saying, so we're gonna stay here for another year."
Well, at the end, the lady was able to Rachel McAdams, I think. I think her name is the actress, and she was able to decipher them. But the entire movie is a palindrome. Now we're jumping from movie to movie.
What do you mean by that?
The palindrome?
Mm-hmm.
It's a palindrome is we use it mainly with words. So like the word Hannah.
Yeah.
It's
like a word that starts and ends with the same. Okay, kind of.
But like let's say HANNAH, it like mirrors. So it's a palindrome. It starts as it begins. Same thing with a Toyota. The phrase a Toyota.
Oh. Wait. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So, I think
Yeah.
Yeah, I think human curiosity is something that's that can be quite dangerous.
Like
Because we're so curious on finding aliens that we don't let or even not even aliens but AI, but that's a different story. We're so used to trying to find aliens or trying to figure out where aliens are that we don't even try to think it's like whether or not we should do this. It's kind of like what was it, Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Like we were trying to figure out whether or not we could instead of whether or not we should.
Yeah. And then there goes Jeff Goldblum with chaos theory. And he like,
That's one big pile of shit.
yeah.
So I think one of the key parts of the movie is, especially in Alien, back to Alien, is that the whaling company kind of doesn't give two shits about its employees.
Yeah. And the thing is that you don't know about that until after
Like-
a lot of the movie has passed. Like after Ripley is using Mother to their in ship, their into the ship's computer. It's called Mother.
Yeah.
It's an acronym. I forget the acronyms, the whole spiel, but she uses it to find out that, you know, it's not an actual, you know,
Distressing.
distress signal, like, and it's a warning, and that the Wayland company basically sent them to extract this organism.
So you told me something interesting before as to what was the point of the whaling company.
So they were hell-bent on finding the perfect organism. So basically, Wayland, they don't really go into too much detail in Alien. It's more in like other movies, but basically to sum it in a nutshell, Wayland, the man, you see him in Prometheus.
Yeah.
And he was trying to find immortality. He was trying to be...
Was he the old man in Prometheus?
Yeah.
Oh, the guy who pretended to be an old man instead of hiring an old man.
Yeah, exactly. he was
God, bro.
he was trying to be your very classic Ubermensch.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they even used that word in Prometheus.
Like a Superman?
Yeah. And he wants to find a way to become the Ubermensch or the apex of human society, of humankind. And so he sets out to basically find the perfect organism, and it doesn't, like, you know, the flash forward to Alien, the movie, in their timeline, they find this organism that literally, when it bleeds acid that is so corrosive that it breaches the hull.
Yeah, like
the ship.
It goes to like several levels of the ship.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
Yeah.
Like they try to cut the face hugger.
Yeah.
But man, how fucking dumb is Kane to see an egg and there's like something inside of it and it's like moving, right? You can see it pumping, right?
Yeah.
Inside the egg. And he decides, you know what? Let me look inside.
Yeah, no.
And he looks inside and he goes like that. And then, basically he's fucked from there on out.
Yeah.
And what's funny, he's like eating, everyone's laughing. He goes, and then he goes,
Fuck.
Yeah. White people, yes. But like that's I swear to God, the shit that people do in horror movies, I swear we haven't learned half of it.
honestly, bro, just stay away. Just stay away. Anytime you see an egg and it just opens by itself
And it's pulsating.
don't fucking touch it, man.
You don't get the
Don't
memo?
touch it. If there's one thing you're gonna learn from this show, if there's one thing you're gonna learn from this show and this episode, if there's an egg, if you see a giant egg about the size of your leg and it's pulsating and it opens on its own and it's kind of inviting, don't go near it.
Yeah.
Don't, man.
Fucking
But-
Kane.
You said that they're trying to find the perfect organism and they're willing to go and do that by any means necessary.
Yeah.
So their mission is beyond profit at that point. Would you say?
Technically it was pure profit. They were trying to find the perfect organism so that they could use in
Wars.
technology and in wars.
Shit.
Yeah.
So it was still like a profitable thing. It's like they weren't trying to like perfect human beings. It wasn't like for the greater good or whatever. It was just like, just to make better weapons and better technology, I guess.
Yeah. It's
To then further greater profits.
Yeah, and it's just sad because they tried to do all of that and only for them to figure out the hard way that it's an untamable creature. It's sentient, but only so far as that it cares about itself.
That's interesting also because they probably know that, or like they don't know that for sure. Like they see that, okay, there's something known as the xenomorph. I guarantee they probably sent them that way, or they probably, when they figured out the signal, they were like, oh fuck, there might be something over there. Like there might be like a good organism. And then you see Ash, who's the robot in the movie who bleeds jizz.
Yeah, literally.
So he's like trying to tell everyone like, okay, no, go over there, let's go over there. It's not a distress signal or whatever. And then he lets them in, despite the fact that that's against protocol.
Yeah,
like he lets them in, and then you can see kind of like works. He's like a sleeper agent, not a sleeper agent, but he's like kind of like an agent for the company themselves. Like even though he's like a scientist or whatever, and that kind of comes up to me. It's like that kind of comes off to me. It's like the company doesn't really gives a shit about its workers.
It doesn't. The thing that people should look at the characters, except for Ash, is that they're literal truck drivers. They don't care. They don't care. They're expendable, because the xenomorph is able to survive even the harsh extremities of space.
Yeah.
It takes, spoilers, it takes so far as Ripley to like use the exhaust of the thrusters to like blast it off away from the ship, and it still lives. It's just frozen
in space.
Yeah.
Until the Wayland Yutani finds
that.
They come across it. It's like, oh, my alien, my precious.
It goes all Gollum on it. But I like Ash's character. He's an interesting guy, even if he's just an android.
I think he doesn't want to do it. He kind of has to.
You think so?
Yeah, like I don't think he does it because like out of malice. It's just like he does it because like he's just literally programmed to do it.
Yeah,
and maybe
maybe
he does feel something. Maybe like because he is AI, but maybe he does feel something.
Oh, he doesn't. He actually doesn't. It is
he doesn't
just,
feel anything.
He doesn't. He literally regards the xenomorph as he regards it as like he looks at it in pure admiration because it is an apex creature.
I think I remember him saying something like that.
Yeah.
But going back to the whaling point, I think it kind of shows the idea that like a lot of these big companies, they don't really give a shit about their workers.
No,
they really don't, and that includes you. That includes you, bro. If you work at a big company,
corporate,
those motherfuckers don't care about you.
You're just a number.
You are just a number. The amount of people I've seen fired from where I work is insane. Like they don't care. They're just in and out.
Turnover rate must be.
Turnover is insane.
Yeah, because
they don't give a shit.
You know what? You can take a parallel. You can draw a parallel with what's that company from Resident Evil, Umbrella
Corps.
Yeah, and I've seen all of the movies with Mia Jovovich. I saw the most recent season. They have a series now on Netflix.
Yeah.
Meh. If you guys want to watch it, meh. The protagonist, utteral dumbass. Just serious dumbass. But anyways, we're not talking about that. The topic is the company. They really do not care. All they care about is profit and profiting off of these organisms, these creatures that can wreak so much havoc on the rest of the population.
And because these companies don't care about you, like they only care about their bottom line, and even your boss and whoever else will sell you out and will fire your ass just to please like his other bosses or so that he doesn't get fired.
Exactly.
You know, like the upper echelon of the society rarely cares for the lower echelon guys. Of course. Unless they're kind of like fully independent, right? So I think humans are very hierarchical creatures, especially men are very hierarchical creatures. We recognize hierarchies, and I think that's very important. However, at the same time, I think the people who are on top, especially like let's say you work at a fast food restaurant like McDonald's. Sure. The hierarchy is like your manager or your supervisor or whoever, and then like
have the branch manager,
the branch manager, and then the whoever else, the supervisor, and then like all the other employees.
Yeah.
So it's like all the employees are usually very expendable.
Yeah.
And I've seen people who were great employees, like wherever I work,
Yeah.
they were great employees, but who got, instead of putting them into a higher management position when they deserve it because they know the place and everything, they go out of their way to hire new people to put into the management position because they have more experience, even though they don't know any shit. They don't know shit about the workplace or anybody who works there, and they haven't cultivated the relationships to gain the respect and the admiration of the people who work with them. So it's like these companies don't give a shit.
It's
They don't
a
give
sad
shit
reality.
about. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about me. They don't give a shit about you either, Sato. So it's like. So I'm not going. It's one thing to complain about the problem, but what can we do better? What do you think What do you think you can do to kind of like to not be kind of subservient, quote unquote, to like that kind of boss?
I mean, is this in topic of Alien or like
we're kind of like deviating off, but let's say
Okay.
it's kind of like I think that's one of the reasons why Wayland is kind of very powerful is because they kind of have their employees by the balls. If you think about it, because they say, they were like, no, we shouldn't go there, man. It's gonna be an extra fucking 10 like 2-3 months extra on top of it. And they're like, if you don't do this, you're not gonna get your bonus. So they're threatening them with removing their pay, docking their pay, just so that they can like get that technology and like for the greed, right?
Yeah,
so
of
they have you by the balls just by like. With what, paper essentially, or for them like just money, I guess, digitally at that point in time.
I guess so.
But like, are you willing to allow people to have that kind of control over you? Is the ultimate question.
Well, obviously not. You wouldn't want anybody to have control over your vocationary freedom or just your freedom in general.
Yeah.
Especially in your vocation, you don't want to be told, "Hey, like, listen, we're going to dock off your pay."
Yeah.
If you don't do this, and it's kind of like a life or death situation. They don't know that obviously in the movie. They're kind of going in blind until it's too late. But just in real life, taking away from the movie, you don't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. You are able to find. I think everybody is able to have their own slice of the pie, of the money pie.
I think they have to take it though. They can't be like, I don't like the idea of whether or not you deserve, because I think that's kind of like a lazy way of looking at it.
Oh, well, like you're entitled to it? No, that's not the very cash money, like capitalist way of looking at it. But you do have to have that initiative, and you do have to have that drive to be able to do that. But you also have to have the gumption or the gall to
the what?
The gumption
What the
or
fuck
the
is that?
gall to,
okay.
to basically know when to put your foot down. So like, yeah, okay, you're gonna take away my bonus. Sure, fuck you. I'm not gonna go on this suicide mission.
You, bitch.
Bloody. Yeah.
I think the better way of, like, you can do that, but I think if you're an ambitious person, you owe it to yourself to make ways so that you can go beyond just working at a regular 9 to 5. But I think someone said this a lot of. I think everyone, or at least most men, are ambitious, but they just kind of daydream.
Yeah, they don't take action.
They daydream about living a better life. And like, believe it or not, I was like a victim of this for a long time. Like, I would daydream about, I don't know, having nice cars and like fucking beautiful women and all that shit.
Social media does wonders to that.
Yeah, it really does. It really distorts your perspective of that, and especially kind of because you compare yourself to people who have high levels of standing within the society, like they're very high level individuals.
Yeah.
You kind of lose the perspective as to how much, what it takes to become that successful. We just look at someone who has like a Lambo or whatever, and we think, okay, this guy's like a scammer or something. Like we don't look at him and say like, oh, look, this guy went to school.
No.
Like usually you don't see that. But however, I also think that at the same time, if you're if you want to escape the trappings of like a 9 to 5 job, if you don't want to end up like people on the Nostromo who died for a company they didn't want to work for because they look like they didn't want to work for it.
They're sick and tired.
Yeah, they're spending most of their year on the Nostromo carrying cargo haul for this company. It was going to take them 10 years to go back home after.
Yeah.
Or not 10 years, but like 10 months to go back home after the whole thing. Like it took them like literally almost a full year to do that. And like, why would you give up so much of your time? I think it's just, but why do you think people like subject themselves to working for companies like such as like Wayland or whoever else?
Well, they do it because they think that they have a shot at becoming one of the big shots in the company. And then they get in there and then they get sadly, they get a reality check that, hey, that's not how the world works.
You actually think it's because like people go into companies and say, okay, I'm going to be like a big time.
A lot of people do, man. A lot of people, like I know a lot of people that really wanted to be that it guy, that corporate guy or corporate girl, and they wanted to work their way up the ladder. But sadly, that's not the way it works. And it should work like that. It should be that you put in the effort, that you give it your all in your work, and that they recognize it and then they push you up. But sadly, that's not always the case. Sadly, you have cases like COVID where tech companies just unload a shit ton of their employees.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Like that's how expendable you are. They like economic times are going down, and that's one of the times, that's something that's happening right now. Like the economy is going to hit a recession very soon. It's going to be pretty big, and your job is going to be gone like that. Especially if you're like in one of those very tenuous workspaces and work environments, especially if you get paid highly and you're not very experienced, they're going to drop your ass very quickly. And if you like, let's say you pissed someone off a year ago.
Oh yeah, they'll take that into account.
They're going to take that into account and be like, okay, well, motherfucker, you pissed me off a year and a half ago. You said this to me instead of saying this. So we're going to cut you instead of cutting Joe Schmo who doesn't do shit. Or they're gonna cut Joe, or they're not gonna cut Joe Schmo because he's in the office sucking the boss's dick or whatever the fuck. Like keep that in mind. Like these companies don't give a shit about you, so why should you give a shit about them? Why should you give a shit about working for them? Instead, you should kind of focus on increasing your value and increasing your skills in something. But I honestly believe that a lot of people don't do that because they're more focused on being complacent and they don't want to move up in life. So instead of like trying to better themselves at a job or better themselves at a skill, something like let's say you, Sato, you're very good at mixing audio, and you're very good at like making sound, like music, right?
Sure.
You can do freelancing music, for example.
Yeah, I can write music for people. I track bass, I track guitar for other people.
Fun fact, he is actually making an intro song for the podcast. It's gonna be fucking fire, bro.
I hope so. Ooh, baby.
But like, for example, you can market that. You know how to edit videos.
I edit videos for myself. I don't edit videos like professionally.
Do you do Photoshop?
I do Photoshop, but it's more for I nowadays, especially because I'm a photojournalist, I edit my photos very minimally. So like I can't literally take something out of the photo. I can only edit the lighting.
Okay. But let's say you worked on that.
Sure.
And you're also a photographer, right?
Yes.
So those are marketable skills that you can then apply to getting, like, let's say if someone wanted to take pictures for a wedding, they can hire you, or they can hire you alongside someone, like another crew of individuals.
Of course.
Like, that's a marketable skill. So the question is not necessarily to you, but like to the viewers, it's what kind of skills can you use to market yourself? Like, can you edit well? Can you, are you a good speaker? Or can you write well? Can you like mix music well? And if you don't have those skills, that's fine. You can go like what's something you enjoy doing? Like, what's something you go on YouTube and you enjoy doing? Like, let's say you like to watch history, or you like to learn about history, which is something I love to do. Then you can go and you can actually like do research and write history, or the research can be as simple as just watching YouTube videos and just watching multiple and like about the same topic, double checking with the sources to see if all the sources are correct, and then just, you know, doing a Frankenstein of like 2-3 of the videos together about the werewolf units at the end of World War II. They were not actually werewolves. They were just like Nazi partisans after the collapse of Germany. Like they wanted to do that, something like that. So you can do something like that, and that can get you a bunch of views, let's say on YouTube, and you can start YouTube and stuff like that. And like there's a very good channel. I even mentioned it in the comment section a while ago. Someone talked about like how they thought that the Hitler video was going to be purely educational, and I said, if you want to watch something very good educationally, go to Mark Felton Productions. His videos are literally, he makes them on it's the smartest thing. He has millions, like I think he has over 1 million subscribers. All of his videos are on iMovie, and it's free. iMovie's free.
Yeah.
And all he does is he writes, and he takes like, what was it, stock footage of the German army. And then he just talks over it. Now, again, you don't have to do that, but you can branch out. You can do different things. And I think if you're going to do something, you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to put in the time. And it's not just about motivation. It's about discipline and constantly doing this. Believe me, I don't always have the motivation to edit these videos. I really don't.
But it's consistency. It's
the consistency that I have. Like I see podcasts where they upload randomly, and I say to myself, like if these guys uploaded consistently, maybe on a 1 week basis or on a 2 week basis, like they can be very successful. They can do very good things. They can make they can get a good amount of views. It's just that they don't do that because they're not consistent.
Well, here's the thing. It's going like I'll tie the consistency thing in with a corporate job. You can work a corporate job. You can do that. You can work the 9 to 5 thing, but also have something on the side. Work on something. Like for example, I
sorry, my bad.
I don't necessarily work a corporate job, but I have a job that I work part-time because I go to school. I go to Concordia University. I write for the Concordian too, and I'm an assistant music editor. But what that entails basically is I have to write an article at least a week, and does that mean that every single week I'm gonna be at my best in terms of like, let's say, every single article is gonna be bomb? No. Sometimes sometimes because we're human, we drop the ball. But what matters is consistency. I'll write articles on album reviews. I'll write articles on. I'll interview someone, and then I'll write up that interview online, or I'll go to a concert. Are the album reviews sometimes like do they bore people? I'm sure, but what matters is consistency. At least once a week, you do something. You will notice the improvements.
Absolutely.
At least 3 months from now, 6 months from now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can also tie it back in with like consistency. Even if you fail, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you learn the best through failure. Like you learn what not to do next, right?
Yep.
So like I failed a lot, especially like you can see some of the original thumbnails, like they weren't great. Like there were some things that I would definitely change now, but I'm going to keep them there because I want to see the progress of how my thumbnails were and how my thumbnails are right now. So now I'd use more like I cut myself out from the background.
Sure.
And I put it into the background of the show or whatever the topic is at the time, like the Voldemort episode or the Harry Potter episode we just did.
Yeah.
And I think you can definitely tie that to Alien. Ripley, like 2-3 times, fails to kill the alien. Right? She blows up the ship. That whole time I was like, oh,
she's not gonna make it.
I was like, no, she makes it to the ship and like to the escape pod.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this scene is going on for way too long. Like, oh my god, that thing's in the ship.
Well, they had to build the suspense.
Yo, they milked the fuck out of that, and then it turns out like it hides in the thing, so it's actually like also quite intelligent as well. It's like it's hiding and stuff.
Yeah.
And then like she manages to like throw it out. It's like things like fucking 7 feet, 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's like Andre the Giant fucking and
She uses a harpoon, too.
Yeah, she manages to like kick the alien out and then blast him with a fucking like blast it with the
engines,
the engine,
with the thrusters.
And it's interesting because she failed originally to blow up the ship and with it inside, but she kept having like second chances. But she didn't. She got a second chance to blow it up, like to kill it, and she took that second chance and went with it. And here's the thing: life always in general gives you second chances.
Yeah.
Even like the only time it's in a life or death situation where you don't have a second chance, because obviously like if you're stuck in a life or death situation and you fail, you get fucked, right? But if you manage to capitalize on those second chances, you can definitely make a huge dent into the universe, because like you can get that trust that you didn't get initially. Like, oh, I trust you the first time you failed, but the second time it's like, okay, you've proven yourself, like you failed, and then I think if you succeed the second time, it kind of makes it a more powerful message.
It's a comeback, and everybody likes a comeback. And I know that's very cliche, but it's like, okay, you see it in movies all the time.
Rocky 3.
Yeah, you don't even need to go that far. We see it in like little kids teeny bopper movies, where like, let's say for example,
little kids what?
Like teeny bopper movies, like the movies that like young like prepubescent kids and tweens go to watch. So like like the protagonist is like they're very cocky, and then they fail hard, and everyone's like nobody wants to associate with them, and then they work hard at it, they work consistently, and then they prove themselves the second time because life gave them a second chance, because Hollywood, anyways, Bollywood, and then no. And then they prove themselves, and people admire them even more.
Yeah. I think people, especially nowadays, I think a lot of young men lack that purpose. They lack that like ambition and drive. It's not the ambition, it's the motivation to do it. They lack. So like everyone wants to be a YouTuber, everyone wants to be an influencer, everyone wants to stream video games.
Yeah.
But no one's actually willing to sit down and actually do the work to get the audience to stream and to do whatever, because it takes effort. You think streaming a video game is just like sitting in front of a screen, in front of a camera, and you're just playing. It's the personality. Look at like IShowSpeed, for example. What distinguishes him from like Ninja or whoever who's dropped off at this point?
Yeah.
Ninja was all about his skill, but IShowSpeed is all about the energy, right? Like he's very he's very epic. He's like at all times, right? Like he's
keeps you on your seat.
He keeps you on your seat. He's hyper. He's very energetic, and I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. And if you're able to display that or have that happen, or you're able to show that on stream, and you're able to show that on let's say on your videos, and at least if you can provide some form of value, whether it's entertainment or whether it's knowledge or whether it's some form of motivation, and which I hope I managed to do for you, then absolutely you can like captivate an audience.
Yeah. It's about having that charisma, and you can't be monotonous. You can't monotonous. Monetary. You can't.
You're a victim.
You can't just hop on, as you said, and just say like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna be playing a video game. So I see some Twitch streamers that just put on a game and they don't even talk, and it's like half the time I'm like, why am I even watching this? Yeah,
you can't be as boring as you would think that you are as playing the game. Like, would you watch yourself play a game? Like, would you watch yourself playing a game if it wasn't you playing? Then if the answer is no, then you got to work on that shit.
That's sad. I would watch me every day.
Wrong.
So quit your 9 to 5. Do the hard work.
Stay in drugs and do school. Don't do school.
I think a lot of people kind of have like a bot mindset. Like I see a lot of people a bot mindset.
What this?
I know you're probably like,
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
a bot is someone who kind of goes with the flow, sheeple, right? So it's like,
So they go with trends and they go with
not just that, but like they go with the flow, but like in a negative way. Like if you go, like let's say you go out and you go with the flow, that's fine. But like let's say you're going to work and you're not trying to distinguish yourself, then why are you at work?
distinguish yourself. How so?
Like for example, I'm gonna give you an example I've been going through this week. Okay, so this week I've been driving. Usually I drive about 15 minutes to work.
Sure.
I've been driving every day to that one spot for like an hour. Just 1 hour drive to another location for the company I work for.
Okay.
To help them out there because there's like a guy who's sick and I have to cover for him. It's an hour to drive there and then an hour to drive back. There's crazy traffic all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredibly annoying because every time I put my address onto the map, it always gives me a different road, so I don't know what to expect.
Oh.
Like today, it gave me a different road from like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Interesting.
And like the scheduling was different, and every time I went there, I was just battered. I was so tired at the end of the day because it was always extremely busy.
Mm-hmm.
But beforehand, like I'd work at the other place, which is about 15 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really distinguishing between me and like my coworkers because we all kind of do the same work and it kind of blends in together. But the fact that I put in that extra effort to drive an hour to that other location and to drive back an hour back from that other location, and I was able to kind of show one of the bigger bosses what I'm capable of and what I'm made of. They kind of gave me that extra respect, and my boss offered to buy me lunch today.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, did you at least get recognized for it?
Yes. So he offered to
Okay.
buy me lunch, and the first day I went, they asked me a second time, like, "Oh, can you stay for another day?" I was like, "If he pays for gas."
Yeah, hell yeah.
And
If
then
it's gonna take you an hour.
Yeah, for sure. And I already had to buy gas. That's the funny part.
Oh my god.
So when I bought the gas and all that, and then he can't really pay me for gas necessarily, but what he did is like he's going to give me $50 like one shot expense card, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like I'm down for that. But like that's what I mean. You need to, I think, especially people. I'm gonna use this term, deltas.
Deltas.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
you gotta
know how,
explain.
You know how there's alphas, betas.
And then there's deltas. What is
Okay,
this? Like
so-
low tier
so-
people.
So this is like the hierarchy I was talking about earlier. So
Sure.
there's alphas who are like your boss, right?
Yeah.
So this is how it works. The alpha is like the manager.
Okay.
The beta is the supervisor. The alpha is like the top dog, right? Everyone listens to the alpha. Everyone has to do that, right?
Yeah.
The beta is the lieutenant to the alpha.
Okay.
Gets almost as much respect as the alpha, but only does generally what the alpha asks him to do.
Yeah.
This is like in general. I'm not like this is not something like cringy like oh you're an alpha, you're a beta. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like it's actual like hierarchies. If you break down every social hierarchy group that you think about, it's literally broken down from this. So the beta is the lieutenant to the alpha. The delta is like the worker ant, right?
Okay.
The one who works at the thing. Then there's the gamma, who's like the delta but a bit smarter.
He's a peasant.
He's
Oh.
he's the smarter delta who gets into arguments with the alpha.
Okay.
Like you see a lot of gammas in like movie like you know the Revenge of the Nerds or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like those are gammas. It's like a gamma flick, right?
Okay,
so like
sure.
you have the. I don't know if this is making sense to you.
No, I understand. I just because I thought it was gonna go into the direction of like the
Sigma male.
Yeah, sure.
No, sigmas are weird because sigmas is basically just an alpha who works alone. But that's stupid because why would you want to work alone?
So a lone wolf.
Like, yeah, but like, here's my problem with sigma males. It's like the highest level people are never solo people. They always have a great group around them.
Well, yeah, you have to.
Exactly. So if you're a sigma male, right? you're never gonna reach as far as like someone who's an alpha, let's
Yeah.
say. But anyway, so the gamma is like the smarter delta who believes that he should be in charge of the alpha.
Okay.
Like he should be in charge instead of the alpha. So it's like the alpha would be like the jock, the quarterback on the football team, and then the gamma would be like the nerd. You know,
Sure.
like they're constantly at odds.
Yeah.
And then the last one's the omega. The omega is like the like, you know how
Like, what
in
is it?
the
A singularity?
you know how the Indians in they have the caste system.
What?
They have the caste system in India. So it's basically like a social hierarchy.
Sure.
And on the very bottom, there's the untouchables.
Okay.
It's basically like they're completely undesirable. That's what the omegas are. That's what the omegas are.
And you give that group the title of Omega.
Well, omegas, they're last.
Fair enough.
So, so like the main way. So there's very few gammas in wherever I work.
Okay.
But it's alpha, which is the manager, beta, which is the supervisor,
Yeah.
and then there's the deltas, who are all like the workers.
Okay.
And then there's the gammas, like some of the workers, there's the gammas who disagree with the boss or whatever the fuck.
Are there any Omegas?
The omegas are usually never hired.
Okay, well there you go.
Like I see some personality traits like that. Like there are some like wall-comers there.
Yikes. Yikes.
You smell toxic.
So, like yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah. Basically, a wall-comer is someone who, like they don't even care about cleaning up their jizz after they're done jerking off.
I figured.
They just do it on the wall and they just leave it there. They have like a dedicated wall to it. Like
That's
the paint,
absolutely disgusting.
yeah, and the paint's like coming off.
Oh my god.
So like there are those people like in where I work, but like as far as like everything else goes, like generally they're all deltas. But the thing is, the deltas, back to the point that I was trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that the deltas, the number one thing they want is recognition for their hard work.
Of course.
So that comes with raises. That comes with, oh, good job, buddy.
Yeah,
You know,
they want that pat on the back.
pat on the
yeah.
back, and like, oh, good job, buddy. They
Yeah.
give you employee of the month and shit like that. Like,
Or they
it's
give you
as a-
like your 4% at the end of the year,
Yeah.
or like they ante it up like 5 or 6% if you do better.
Congrats.
Bruh.
So, that's what the thing is. But like,
Sure.
basically, that's what the crew in Alien is. They're all generally deltas, except for like maybe Ripley.
She would be a gamma.
She would be a gamma. But you see how like simple it is to classify people once you figure that out.
Sure, but at the same time, like it's sad because humans are increasing like we're incredibly complex creatures.
Of course,
and to
narrow it down.
I like using. I know people nowadays hate labeling. Sorry, but it is an easy way to identify. Go fuck yourself. Well, it's an easy way to identify people. You know, people. She would be a gamma. You have Captain Dallas, who would be a supervisor. Wayland, the company would be like
because he's technically the alpha because he's the
in the freighter.
He's in the freighter. He's the
yeah,
alpha.
sure, yeah.
See, like he might be an alpha there, but like in the grand scheme of the company, he'd be like a delta.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's what I meant. Like,
and then like in the grand
in terms of Wayland, he's a delta,
or like at most a beta. But see, it fluctuates. Like you're never always in one position or the other. You're not always in that one position. It's like you can move up or down depending on what you do. So it's like the reality is like, would you want to be the leader in your group, or would you want to just be the follower? That's a question you can probably take away.
I know what I want to be.
Stupid.
No.
Well, to basically sum up the point I was making, or I guess we were making, it's try to be greater than what you are now, especially if you're just working on like a job, even you get home and instead of playing video games or masturbating or watching movies. Put the time into something productive. Put the time into something that's going to make you a more interesting person, because that's what people like. Like if you, what's more interesting? If I told you, hey, I play video games. Okay, cool. Like everyone plays video games. Or would if I told you, yeah, I have a podcast. Like, holy shit, you have a podcast?
I mean, it's
like that's like
it's just because you're working towards something.
Yeah. But it's not just, I'm not doing that just for that, because I actually genuinely enjoy it. But it's like that's a bonus that comes with it. Like I was at a wedding, and my cousin didn't know about my podcast, and I told him, yeah, I have a podcast. He's like, really? Oh fuck, that's really cool, man. Like I never knew someone who has a podcast. I was like, you know how that makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
Like just like how you were in a band, or I think you still are in.
Well,
you're in a different band.
Yeah,
now.
I'm
Like
in a different
he
band.
used to be in a different band. Like
I used to be in two.
Now
I'm
two.
in one band.
Lost Tourist, guys. Check him out on Instagram. I will link the description. I will link it in the description.
Oh, thank you.
Also, so like he was in a band, so it's like that's very interesting. When I look at you and you're in a band and you're working towards something, you're working on music, something that's your passion. That's way more interesting than someone who comes to me and says, "Oh, I play video games." "Oh, what game do you play?" "I play Call of Duty Modern Warfare."
Wrong.
Like that's the wrong answer, buddy. Like that doesn't make you interesting to people who you would want to interest, who you'd want to captivate the attention to, because they might be able to provide some form of value to you that helps out with possibly your future endeavors and what you want to do.
And that's listen, playing video games is fine, but at the same time, that can't be everything you're doing. Or like, let's say watching Netflix is fine, but you can't prioritize that the second you come home. I know, like we know more than just as much as the next person that work is friggin' annoying. Well, it's not annoying. It's just it's dull sometimes. It's menial sometimes. Yeah. You want to be doing something that you feel can make a difference in the world. So why don't, like, instead of just gaming up until you fall asleep, dedicate like an hour or 2 hours. When I teach kids guitar, I literally say, do these exercises for 15 minutes, because I know them. They have the attention span of a goldfish. Like they see something else, it's like
they see something else, they go
sicko mode, and they do. They go wow. They jump off the walls for like 5 minutes when I teach them guitar or when I teach them bass. But I tell them, literally do this 15 minutes a day. I know that's not enough. I know that's not much, but at the end of the week, the muscle memory that your fingers would have attained if you have done that
will be a lot greater, right?
Yeah.
Now, I want to touch on video games on another episode. I think we discussed this earlier before we actually started recording. Ready Player One. So,
I got excited. I would love to be a player on that game. The Wilhelm scream.
Wilhelm screams
Like a panther.
So follow your passions. Follow your dreams. But figure out it's not just about following your passions, it's figure out how to make money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And become a greater version of yourself that your future self will be so happy to see.
Yeah. And don't be like Ripley's teammates. Don't be like Kane.
Don't be a retard.
Don't be like Kane.
Don't be a dumbass.
Don't be a dumbass. Don't be like Red. He's not a dumbass.
And this reminds me of a question. If you were to pronounce the letter B in the word dumbass, would it be dumb bass or dumb bass?
Dumb bass.
Really? I think you're the first person who ever said that.
I mean, I play the bass, so dumb bass.
We'll get to our thoughts now on the movie. What do you think of the movie, Sato?
What do I think of the movie Alien? Well, we were just talking. Well, we were just talking about it in the beginning, right? Where there's a lot of movies that are like that, like horror movies, like slasher movies, like Nightmare on Elm Street, like Halloween,
Friday the 13th,
you name it, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I like these movies, don't get me wrong. I like to sit back and get a kick out of them. maybe psychotic behavior. I don't know.
Daddy.
But Alien's a bit different. Now you could say that it's kind of like a slasher because this creature is picking the people off one by one. But there's a whole lot of other themes that play in this. There's the themes of humanity. There's themes of togetherness, of friendship, power of friendship. You know.
We use the power of friendship.
Or like Guy said, say we got to have the power of youth and power of friendship. You know, you got all that youth. And he holds his thumb for like, you know, like an innumerable amount of time. Like there's the topics of technology and the limits that you could go, that you could go or that you shouldn't go for technology. Yeah. So I think it's I don't think it's a shallow movie at all. I think it's a pretty
it's very deep movie.
Yeah, especially when they're trying to interrogate Ash and he's got all his jizz on the floor and everything and he's covered in it too.
I'm gonna come.
Which, by the way, a lot of my family members would be like, "Oh, that's mayo," and I'm like, "Oh, you're so innocent." Like, come on,
you're
wrong.
Like I had family members that would watch that movie,
man.
and then they would say like, "Oh my god, it looks like mayo." I'm like, "Oh my god, it looks nothing like that. Nothing like mayo. It's
either milk or milk.
It's coagulated." But especially when they're interrogating him, like Ripley and I think it's either Parker or Brett. He's the only other one alive after.
Brett
at the point that they're interrogating him, and he goes into this monologue about how he thought that the organism was so pure and he finds humans flawed. And it reminds me of Data from Star Trek, where like at one point, like I forget his name already, Mr. not Tucker. What is Riker? Commander Riker. Thank you, fucking Commander Riker. Turns around to him when he's interviewing Data, and he's like, "So I've seen that in your reports that you view yourself as superior to humans," and he's like, "I am," and he's like, "Doesn't that I find that a lot concerning," and he's like, "Really? Well." It was like kind of like tough noogies, like that's reality. Yeah. No, I honestly found the movie to be a lot deeper than your regular slasher.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. It's very different from a lot of the movies at the time, a lot of the horror movies at the time. The only horror movie that has any form of message is like Dawn of the Dead at that time. Like but you have to kind of really look into it. Like it is a fun movie, but like you can also look into it like I don't know who the soldiers were at the beginning of the movie.
I don't remember.
Like, or I don't know if they're police or military police or whatever the fuck. But like, I don't know if you've seen the movie.
I have seen the movie, but it was a while ago.
A long time ago. Yeah. So, it's actually available on YouTube.
Really?
The whole thing is available
free
on YouTube for free.
Okay. I know what
but
I'm
it's like 360p and like in a square fucking it's kind of trash and it's edited weirdly.
Got to bring out my box TV for
that. That's what it's made for. But like but that movie also has a bunch of messaging. We'll probably do that next year. But again, we don't really do a lot of horror movies because it's I mean, like it's kind of like trying to do this stuff for a Marvel movie, like for a generic Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Like by generic, I don't mean like First Soldier or like Captain America First Soldier or like Iron Man 1. Like those have good like stories and like they have good how can I say it? What's the word? They have good moralities and meanings to the story. But if you're watching something like Black Widow or whatever,
I actually kind of like Black Widow though.
Yeah, you can like the movie. That's fine. I just think it's kind of like, what's the point? Like I think if you're gonna write a story, it should have at least some form of meaning instead of just being just mindless entertainment. But that's my opinion. If you like mindless entertainment, that's up to you.
Mindless.
If you like just have fun, go to movies theater and just have fun. Watching a movie and then you'll forget about it 2 days later. That's fine. Like I thought Thor: Love and Thunder was a fun movie.
I actually didn't watch it.
Well, don't. But like,
shit.
it's a fun movie. It's like it's visually impressive, or like not necessarily, but like it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
But there's no point to it. There's no substance.
Mm.
You know, it's not like the first Thor movie where it's like he's battling the fact that like, oh, he's a god, but like whatever. Like there's none of that in that movie. But that's a different story for another day. But like
honestly, for Alien, another thing is that it was one of the first horror movies, I could say even just movie franchises, that had a female protagonist.
Yeah, and she wasn't written like a fucking bot. Like
No.
she was written like just a normal human being.
She's a fucking badass.
Yeah,
I love Ripley.
She's a fucking G.
And a lot of people had a crush on her, I guess.
On Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, on Sigourney Weaver back then.
Who looks at their kid and be like, yes, Sigourney.
But like, yeah. But you know, she proved that that movie proved that you can have protagonists like that aren't written shoddily. I'm looking at Marvel, you know, but Marvel. I don't know if you remember, but like when they were doing,
I don't.
You don't? When they were doing the press functions for that press junkets for that movie, Marvel, they were saying how she's like one of the first like female protagonists that like are iconic, and I was like, excuse a fucking me, like no, you forgetting Alien, you forgetting
for which conference press?
For Marvel. I do not want to say the name. I do not.
You smell toxic.
You know, like, listen, I don't mind the actress. I don't mind the whole team. I just found it to be so like her acting, like the way that she was portrayed was whereas you have people like Lara Croft, you have people like Mia Jovovich's character in Resident Evil, you have people like Ripley, where they just persevere.
Yeah, there's actually a challenge to them.
Yeah.
And like she fails like 2-3 times during the movie. Not 2-3 times, but like she fails multiple times during the movie. Like she fails to convince Ash to close the door and like to quarantine them properly. Like she fails to like, she's like, no, I'm not gonna let you in. But then they end up coming in, so it's like she has to kind of like roll with the punches.
Yeah.
Like she gets scared at certain points. She's not like
She's
when
human.
the thing falls on her, she's not like stoic. She's not like she's like, wow, like she's still a woman.
Yeah.
She's still a woman, but like she's
human.
But she's like she's written like a human character. She's not written like a caricature of what a lot of these movies want women to be.
Yeah.
You know, like she's still written like a woman, and like just like how the other guys are like written like men. Like what was the guy, the black guy's name? What was his
I think it was Brett. I have them written
Brett.
down. I think it was Brett or Parker. I forget.
No, I don't remember. But like the black guy, for example, he was like hyper. Like when it's a common thing that guys do, right? When they're like in a scared situation, what they do, some of them they go and they seek the danger to fight it, right? So it's fight or flight.
Yeah.
So like the other girl was like scared out of her mind, while the black guy was like, I'm gonna go fight this fucker. I'm gonna go kill this fucker. Like that's what he was thinking.
Yeah.
While like Ripley was kind of like the middle part. She's like trying to think, okay, what the fuck can we do here to get out of this situation? Like he was just out of his fucking mind. He was just kind of like going with it.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was just hyper aggressive, which is what men do. And then the other chick was like very scared, which is a lot of what women do, you know, in those like very scary situations.
I mean, yeah, more often than not nowadays we're seeing like a balance come together, like a compression when it comes to genders nowadays. But back then especially, they were portraying her in like what a.
But I think it also depends on the personality. Like some women are more masculine and some women are more feminine by nature.
Yeah.
Like by their own nature.
Yeah.
So it's like, but generally men are more masculine than women, and women are more feminine than men generally. Well, like it seems like Ripley was sort of the exception to that rule, like in that sense. Sure. Like if you compare her to like the other crew member who was a chick and she was like kind of screaming her head off. But yeah, I think we're getting quite defeated from that.
I think she literally screamed her head off. Literally.
If you guys enjoyed that video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel.
Ballsy.
And comment below what movies you'd like us to see. There's someone who wrote I forget the character's name from Euphoria. I don't know if you've seen that show.
I haven't seen Euphoria.
Yeah, like I was like, oh fuck, I haven't seen that show. I wish I kind of had, because like then I could like do that for that fan.
Oh sure.
Yeah, but like the thing is, I don't really have time. I literally, when I come home from work, I just edit until I go to sleep.
That's fine.
Like I don't have time. But like,
I mean, Euphoria, honestly, from what I've seen, is just a whole bunch of people
getting
that are
high.
Sure, but also they're wearing Fashion Nova outfits. And where is your uniform? You
How
know.
dare you?
So
Also Zendaya.
Zendaya. Just Zendaya.
I don't even other than Spider-Man, I haven't seen anything with her.
She was in Dune, I think.
That's true. I saw her in Dune 2 with Timothée Chalamet.
Wasn't it also
Timothy.
Dave Bautista?
No, that was Jason Momoa.
Ah,
Momoa.
Momus.
Also a bass player.
So, remember, guys, leave a like. Comment below what movies you like to see next. Subscribe. Ring the bell for all notifications. If you'd like to listen to the show or any of the shows on audio and just on audio in your car or wherever else without using Wi-Fi, go down to the link below. Get on Spotify, get on Anchor, and listen to us there. And besides that, all I have to say, no, I don't actually have an outro.
You don't have an outro?
No, I don't.
So what we could do in this case is we could just talk nonsense, and then you can have those 4 videos of whatever you have playing, and then we could just talk about nonsense. So we can talk about how Tom Hardy is a pretty good actor. I actually like Tom Hardy. He's
Thomas Hardy. Thomas is hard.
Thomas.
I'm gonna come.
All right, guys. Ciao.
See ya.